Hello and welcome to this short webinar. It's really a heart sharing about why Holy Week plays such an important part in the lives of those who follow the Christ. And as a Catholic Christian who embraces all faiths, as a member of the Teo community of Interfaith Franciscans, we see Holy Week as an important part of our own spiritual journey. For me, I believe that on Good Friday, around 3 p.m., the time when they said that Jesus gave up the ghost, gave up his spirit, for me it is the birth of love and light, God's love and God's light. It is a challenging week because you're empowered by that inner voice of spirit to revisit those areas in your life that may hold you back: fear, anxiety, tension, low self-esteem, low self-worth. And even in God's service, we are not immune from challenges, from trials and tribulations. And just a minute ago, I opened this wonderful manuscript, Entering the Castle, by none other than the great Teresa of Avila. And she said, Teresa understood the pain of betrayal like Christ, having been the subject of our fellow nuns' gossip and criticism. But she points out praise is equally painful. Both praise and criticism test the ego as well as the soul. Illusions of earthly power can seduce anyone who is unable to remain humble. And maybe you've seen that yourself in your monastic communities, as I have from being a young monk. But she goes on to say, a rise in power and status always brings challenges. And everyone around you, professional colleagues, friends or family, will have opinions of your conduct. Few people will praise you, especially if they perceive that your empowerment diminishes theirs. You will be a target of criticism. On that you can count. You will be a target by those whom you love, family members, maybe partners. Thus, it is wise to know how to maneuver through the ups and downs, through cycles of power and disempowerment. She gives us specific rules for dealing with your need for praise and vulnerability to criticism. She invites us not to be judgmental, and Holy Week is an ideal opportunity for having that examen of conscience, for making time to be still in the Cathedral of God, the landscape, and inviting Spirit to speak to your heart, and to have the courage to listen to that heart. So many of us today who have surrendered our hearts to God in loving service, we are stretched. Indeed, we are stretched. We're pulled in so many places that there comes a time where we don't know whether we're Arthur or Martha. And I know many of my friends are being laid low at this moment with illness. Only recently, a dear friend who was out walking the fells nearby fell and fractured his leg. And he just phoned me about half an hour ago, and we had a little chat asking how he was doing after surgery, when he had the inconvenience of a plaster of Paris applied to his leg, and where he knows he's got to be still and rest. And I just happened to share with him in love as a brother, maybe the universe has other plans for you, dear brother. Maybe instead of chasing your tail and always being there for everybody, that this time you have to be still. And the same thing happened to me 3 weeks ago when I was coughing on a piece of bread, having our soup at lunchtime. But that coughing episode lasted 3 hours. And sadly, I pulled a muscle in my back because I've never known coughing like it. And over the last 3 weeks, it has been debilitating, where I've not been able to go live for our Lenten retreat. But in the silence of the small hours where I've not been able to sleep, great opportunities, nuggets, where you come into the presence of God and you hear that gentle voice, a voice that doesn't condemn you, a voice that is calling you to agape, to come and receive your abundance from God. At the back of this book, Entering the Castle, it says, "Let your castle become the sacred ground beneath your feet. Lift the power of your soul. Listen to and follow the voice of your soul. You are not alone. No higher purpose in this life exists than to be called into a mystical relationship with the divine. And Holy Week is a precursor to that penultimate experience of pure joy on Easter Sunday, when there is a spiritual reawakening and a rebirthing with the risen Christ." But who is this Christ? Who is this man? Well, Jesus said, "Many say, 'Lord, Lord,'" or he says, "Don't be fooled by false appearances. For those who say, 'Lord, Lord,' well, there's no guarantee that they will come into the kingdom of God. But those who do the will of the Father." To say you love Christ means that you are willing today to surrender to him. To say that you follow Christ means that you're willing to walk alongside him. And to say that you only do God's will means that you listen to your heart, your teacher, the gateway to your soul, the gateway to God. And to say that you listen to your heart means that you are willing to be still in the presence of God. And to know peace is to reflect peace. And to harm one is to harm all. To support one is to support all. And to embrace the marginalized is to embrace the real Christ. So this coming Holy Week, I'm hoping to go live every evening at 8 p.m. on our Doves for Peace channel with a video of a shared talk and maybe a guided meditation, right up until Easter Sunday evening. But from Easter Monday, the 28th of March, we go back to our old time of 10 o'clock in the evening instead of 8 p.m. We go live 10 o'clock London time for about 15 to 30 minutes, no more, with a thought for the new day, a heart reflection, and a short guided meditation where we invite the Christ, the cosmic Christ, to empower us, take responsibility for our spiritual journey, and to seek moments that are precious for our soul, when we can be still in the presence of love and honor that love. As a monk here in our little monastery, time is such a precious commodity. There's always plenty to do. But it's in making time, for me, around 3 in the morning, when most of the United Kingdom are asleep apart from the doctors and nurses working in our hospitals and care centres, but it's a precious time. But I'm never alone, because nature is with me. We have a beautiful owl which I've nicknamed Ollie, who sits on one of the yew trees in the garden And around 3 a.m. I can hear Ollie singing his little heart out, praising God. Join me for this Holy Week, live on Doves for Peace. And hopefully, from Monday the 28th of March, we will go live from the new time, because our clocks go forward an hour, at 10 p.m. every evening. And it's where it's not my words I will use. It will be the words of the Christ. His words will speak to your heart. So thank you. And I wish you a blessed Easter. And all that I wish myself, I wish for you too. Namaste. Shalom. Inshallah. Paxet Bonum OmShanti. Solo di Caritas. Salam Alaikum. And may the peace of the resurrected Christ reawaken in your heart the I am presence of God, because you are a child of God and you are loved like me. Thank you for giving up your time, and I look forward to you joining me on Doves for Peace. And if you can't join me, you can click on the link for the playlist and catch up. Again, have a blessed Easter, and I look forward to your company soon. Take care.